Hello everybody, this is RedBalloonMan, and I have a ZVT for you on Shakira's Plateau between Dragonspear and KangasKhan. And KangasKhan is here with me today, and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Kangaruthless, otherwise known as KangasKhan, but you can call me Kanga, but I am the green Zerg here in this game, and this will be on Shakira's Plateau. The pink player obviously is Dragonspear, and I am the green Zerg.
Yes, and on this map, a little background on Dragonspear is he's actually came a very long way since we first met him. He started in, you said, Silver?
Yeah, he was a silver Terran when I first met him, had a couple of ideas about how to play TVZ, but you said he's gotten some coaching lately, and I can see it's really made a difference here in this game.
Yes, and ZVT was one of the matchups that he had quite a bit of problems with. He had trouble getting a third, and lately, since he's gotten so much practice in it, he has definitely shown a lot of improvement. And you yourself, you're a platinum as well, correct?
I'm a high platinum, correct.
A high platinum, and I believe he's platinum as well. I can't swear to that, but I'm pretty sure he's in platinum.
He's
so
platinum.
We should have a pretty even match here.
I think it's pretty even because we played a lot of games together. We understand each other's play styles. We just played about 7 games before this on the map. I think he had won most of them. But Shakira's Plateau is one of those maps as Zerg that I have the most difficulty with. It's just, you can do that 3 bunker pressure right there on the top of the ramp. You can do that siege tank medevac push onto the side of Zerg's base. You can even do a 4 racks and just make Zerg's life hell. There's a lot of tricks that Terran can pull off their sleeves, which makes me really paranoid with this kind of matchup and just honestly makes me not play to the best of my abilities. So we did a lot of games on this map, and I did see an improvement in my gameplay.
Yes, and on this map, there is a lot of ways the Terran can take advantage of it. There's a lot of air and a lot of ways you can fly your medevacs around. However, the Zerg can also take advantage of this map. It's very easy to defend your natural. One spine crawler is usually enough to defend against any type of early harass with any bunker rushes or anything like that. It's very easy for a Zerg to macro up at the beginning of the game. If the 2 Zelnaga caverns revealing anything, 4 Zerglings can give you a ton of information on this map.
And right you are, and right here I am scouting around outside of Terran's base to see for any proxies, but I did forget to rally my drone back home. So we'll get picked off by this Marine and this one SCV, so this is going to make my mind think right here that there's a rush coming, that it's a 2 Rex and an 11-11, which Dragonspear I think might have done to me once. So take in mind, guys, this is game 8, it's been a long day, and I was just thinking, oh god, he's going to 11-11 me. So I really want to get rid of this SCV. Now guys, this is a mistake. As Zergs, do not pull your drones out this far. That was a mistake. Whenever they get away from the bottom of your ramp is when you can pull away and run back and get some mining time. I just lost a lot of mining time. He did not.
Yes, and that was a full 6 drones in this early in the game. 6 drones out of 23. That is a huge blow to the economy. So even though it was one SCV and a Marine, it did a lot more damage than it definitely should have. And now you see Dragonspear doing a very standard opening that you see a lot of Terrans do. Opening it with a reactor, getting out double Hellions, and going out with a command center. What this does is the Hellions will be able to poke in, take a little bit of poking damage, but the main purpose of them is not to kill the drones, but to take map control and try to force some Zerglings as well. Because what the Hellions can do is they can sit at the bottom of the ramp and completely deny the Zerg from being able to scout for quite a while, which will make it very safe for you to get your command center running.
And we're actually going to see this a bit this game. I'm going to point this out to you guys. I should be taking these these watchtowers right here, and just sending 2 Zerglings in to kind of scout, but instead I'm going to send all 4 Zerglings, line them up, they're going to get all hit by 2 Hellion hits, and that's a lot of damage done to my Zerglings here. So now we have a quarter life Hellion and a full life Hellion, and I just lost 4 Zerglings. So that's, that's 2 larvae I will never get back. And as Zerg, that's not what you want. Now I do not have map vision. Now I have to make 12 Zerglings just to make sure he doesn't follow us up with blue flame.
And I also noticed you sent all your drones back from your natural all the way back to your main, which is something I really don't like. Because if he does get into his main, which I see that you have your queens there so he won't be able to, it would allow him to be able to snipe off a lot of drones. And if he was going for a fast starport with medevac, it would make it very vulnerable. What I would do is just put a queen by your ramp and put a spine crawler behind the mineral lines and one by the entrance, and that will stop most Hellion openings for a very long time. And if you get your speed up, then you can retake map control if he doesn't overcommit on the Hellions.
And I agree with that, and literally that was a bit of an estimation right there. It's a little bit of an overreaction. And right now what I need to be doing is making drones, maybe making another queen so I can get a nice wall off. I am going to go ahead and start spreading my creep tumors as soon as I can, since I do have 3 queens up and running. I need to be hitting my injects, which I will do. But now these Zerglings are positioned on the top of the ramp, so rest assured if the Hellions try to run up, I will be able to get a nice concave and kill off all of them. But I do have more drones rally down to the expansion. Just a little bit of mine time loss, but I was just trying to be safe. Was it worth it? That's debatable. It probably wasn't.
Yes, and you could see one of the things that Dragon did was, as soon as he wanted to get his orbital command, his natural going, he put 5 supply depots down right away. I don't necessarily like this move. It's a little
I don't like it either.
I would have just moved the barracks down to help block it off. But you're seeing he's also not taking the Xel'Naga caverns because it's not really needed. As long as those Hellions stay at the bottom of the ramp, then he has no major worries of having to deal with Zerglings.
I want to pull your attention right here. I have a Baneling Nest on the way, and I have a 26 Zerglings. The Baneling Nest is about to complete. If I want to do a Baneling bust, now is the time to do it. But instead, we're going to see what I do here is split my Zerglings off, and a lot of them are going to get killed off by these Hellions. This is not the right way to do it, to be honest, guys. If you're going to go for a Baneling bust, which would actually work against this kind of build, you don't want to do what I'm doing here. I'm going to lose all of my Zerglings, and he's going to lose 3 of his Hellions. But meanwhile, I'm going to try and poke up in here. There are Marines there to correct it. And really, if I really wanted to do a Baneling bust right here, I should do it about now.
I'm not sure, but when you ran your Zerglings by, did you even touch either of the Xel'Naga caverns? I mean, Xel'Naga towers?
Yes, I touched both of them.
I did not see you touch the bottom one, but I might have been mistaking that.
I think I touched the top one.
I see you have quite a few queens. You have 3 down and 1 there. But 2 of the queens aren't even doing anything. You kind of slowed down on the creep thread. There you go.
So I'm going to do...
Layer up, which is always good too.
Okay, so the timings are a bit off from that Hellion harass. This is why as Terrans, I mean, you don't think that Hellions do a lot against Zerg. They actually do. They force Zerg to be very defensive and make a lot of really tough decisions. But as you see here, I am going to start to spread out my creep tumors. I really want that creep spread to really catch on here so I can have that nice map control here for mid-game.
Yes, and now you're probably going to see Dragonspear transitioning into tanks. I thought I saw him making a tank. He might have canceled it. But you can see the factory does have a tech lab on. So it's very likely that he's going to start with that. And you see another command center, which is a very smart thing to do. I like this a lot. You can take that top-middle expansion very easily at the early of the game. The only thing he has to be careful of is mutas. And since the Spire is coming out, it can be very risky. So he'll more likely go for that corner expansion pocket.
So he's going for this corner expansion pocket, but since I see the Hellion there, I do have my Zerglings running out and about the map. And I do have some Zerglings here in the back of the mineral line just so he can't drop. This map is really notorious for dropping your Marines back behind that mineral line, and Zerg can't do anything about it unless he has Banelings. So I do have these Zerglings, posted back here, but I will be able to catch some Marines in time. We'll be able to pick off 1, 2, maybe 3 Marines. He's not able to heal all of them at the same time, so 3 Marines will go down. And these 3 Marines won't be able to cancel this base. I'll be able to help out with the rest of these Zerglings coming in. Just need to remember to hit my injects.
And I don't know if this was accidental or intentional, but you completely stopped the drop in your main with a queen and your Zergling. But the drop has came back with the medevac halfway destroyed. If you focus that down to queen, then the Marines will all be stranded, but he does pull out just in time.
That was very intentional because I know he likes to do this multi-pronged drops. I do like to keep a couple of Zerglings in my base, and a couple of those need to be Banelings to make sure that the Marines cannot position themselves behind the minerals and that I can't kill them. So the Baneling will take care of that issue. Now the Mutalisks are going to do a big mistake here. We just killed off a medevac. Why don't we just go into the base and scout exactly what Terran's doing and do a little bit of harass and keep Terran a little bit preoccupied? But looks like my attention is elsewhere. I am making 13 drones.
Yes, and I also noticed you were really late to put drones on the 2 gas at your natural, and you're not getting your third actually has idle workers, but you need to get that saturated. 13 workers, probably get the gas up there as fast as you possibly can, just because when you first get the Spire, you need to get as many Mutalisks as you can before a Terran can get so many turrets that it loses its effect.
Exactly, and what I really need to do right now is get down to macro hatchery. I'm only on 3 bases, and I need 4 hatcheries. I really do need 4 hatcheries. You can see my minerals here are getting about to 1,500. I need those hatcheries so bad. I need that production so bad. If a push came right now, I'd be in trouble, but as you can see here, Dragonspear is gearing up to take Assert. He has taken Assert, has his 2 tanks down here, and this is kind of like that critical moment in TVZ. That critical moment where if Zerg decides to all in, just to go for pure aggression and kill Terran, Terran will die. If he doesn't have his tanks positioned correctly, if he doesn't have his eye on the Marines. But as we see here, I'm just going to clear the watchtowers and then just kind of back away. So a little bit of hesitancy by me. I'm able to pick off one of these tanks though, so that's not a bad pick off for me, but still just being a bit too hesitant.
Yeah, so I've noticed Dragon doesn't like to hotkey his factories. He's got 2 factories not making any tanks, which is definitely not the thing you want to be doing at this point in the game. Because if you can get a fast tank count out much earlier than this, then you'll have a lot more map control and be a lot less vulnerable to any type of Zergling harass or Muta harass. But we do see an armory coming up, most likely just a response to the Mutalisks. But you'll also be able to get his +1 vehicle weapons up for his tanks. And ooh, we see your Mutalisk coming out into his main. And Dragon does have some turrets up, and it will push you back.
It's a couple of the turrets and the Marines were there at the same time, which made me think twice. But I will go in here and start picking away at some of these mules, but I'm going to get flanked by these Marines. I haven't lost a Mutalisk yet, so it was totally worth it. I just regret not forcing a stem from Dragonspear.
Yeah, and we see another command center coming out. He has gotten a lot better macro when we see him getting a 4th base before the 20 minutes mark, a major improvement of what he used to do. In fact, he'll actually be ahead of you in bases if he gets that up.
And he probably will at this point. Let's look at my income tab. It's only at 55, so I'm neglecting on the workers right now. I have a couple of Mutalisks a little bit out of position here, going to get picked off by 2 of these missile turrets. The Mutalisks will run back, but a lot of damage was done here, and I wasn't able to do a lot of damage to the SCVs.
Yeah, so I'm noticing neither player is really taking full map control right now. But one of the Zelnaga towers is completely open, nobody's there, and that's the more important one. And since neither player has that, both players are pretty in the dark, and both players are probably preparing for an attack that may not necessarily be coming from either one.
That's actually a really good point. I didn't even think of it that way, because when I was playing this game, I was just thinking, man, he's got 3 bases. He's just going to push out with a bunch of tanks, maybe 1 or 2 Thors, and a shit ton of Marines and Medivacs, and I have to be ready for that. So I was just so concerned right now on keeping myself defended. I didn't get my 4th up in time. My 4th is really late. At this point, I should be taking a 4th and a 5th because I'm so behind on expansions, and I should know this, but I was just playing in the dark for a lot of the time. And in Zerg, you cannot be playing in the dark like this. You always have to be able to scout your opponent and know exactly what he's doing at all times. And whenever you see a Thor out here by the 3rd, go and attack the natural or the main.
And hotkey your macro hatch.
Yeah, I don't think I have a hotkey, do I? Yeah, we see a lot of larvae building up there. I think I do have it hotkeyed. Let me check and see right here. Yeah, I have 5 hatcheries hotkeyed, so I do have all 5 of them hotkeyed, but
at the moment it was 4 when I said that.
Okay, and this is actually a really good point because there was a game that I casted earlier tonight. It was a ZVP, and I think Zerg could have won it really easily had he had one of his macro hatches hotkeyed, and he just didn't, so things did not go well for him at all. Now, so you see here, I do my layer down. I don't have an infestation pit on the way. This is a mistake. Again, you need to get that infestation pit up a little bit faster. You need to get that greater spire a little bit faster. And then once you get that greater spire on the way, you need to start laying down a lot of spines, taking a couple expansions if you haven't already, and just preparing for that slow push across the map.
And get Baneling speed 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I agree. So that's another thing I forgot there. It's really good that you pointed that out. And there's going to be a point in time when I'm going to point out that I noticed this. I'm like, holy shit, where's my Baneling speed? Oh, wait, I don't have any Baneling speed. But I'm able to kill off a couple of these barracks here. They will not be able to build. There's not enough Marines here to take care of this. Mutalisks are not OP. You You just need a lot more Marines than you have Mutalisks. But he's trying to start on his Ghost Academy, and I'm going to be able to pick that off and halt his production as well. So, really nice harass here by me, but I need to make something happen of this.
Destroying that Ghost Academy is actually a very big deal with a Terran that actually knows how to use it in late game ZVT. Because Ghosts are really good against Ultralists and Broodlords. So having both, being able to replace Marines with Ghosts in the late game can make a huge impact on the game against those tier 3 units. So that bit of harass will set him back quite a bit, and now he's forced to run his Marines back and forth, which will probably give you the ability to bounce back and forth between his third and his main, assuming you don't lose all your mutas to that Thor.
Now here's a big thing I want to hype or harp on Dragonspear on. Look at how many of his tanks are unsieged. If I just run in a counterattack with a bunch of lings, I would have killed this. Because he doesn't have any of these guys sieged up, maybe 2 tanks sieged up. Mass Lings will kill this. This army right now, if it had run in, would have killed this. So he needs to pay attention when he's rallying his tanks out. Be sure to siege them. Otherwise, I mean, this base can very well die.
Another problem I notice he has is, while his hotkeys is a very big issue right now. He has, well, I can't click on it necessarily with my setup, but I'm assuming his 6 is his upgrade structures. He's got his barracks and his orbital commands. None of his tanks are hotkeyed, and none of his units are hotkeyed, and neither are his factories or his starports.
No. But then again, we look at my units, and they're not all hotkeyed, to be honest. I mean, we look at my hotkeys, 13 Zerglings on hotkey 1, 12 on hotkey 2, and my Mutalisks are down to hotkey 3, which I rely a lot on my Mutalisks to do a lot of the damage. They are going to try and pick away this 3rd. They're not going to be able to. I'm sorry, that's actually a 4th. They're not going to be able to, so they will need to run back. Now, this is a pivotal point in the game. Right here. He is maxed out. I'm about maxed out. It's at this point in time that I realize that my banelings don't have speed. And I see that his tanks are starting to show at my Zerglings. And I just now realize, okay, centrifugal hooks need to be finished a long time ago. But what's a really good thing that you can do here as Zerg at this point in time? Start getting infestors and start up on that infestor count. If you get about 6 infestors, you will be in good shape to stop these small patches of Marines that will give you hell in the late game.
Another thing you can do is be a little bit more active with your Mutalisks. Like, just poke in at his army, see where the position of his tanks is, and use your Mutalisks to try to attack when his tanks are unsieged.
Exactly.
You may take some damage from the 4s, but if you can get that vital information of when the tanks are unsieged, you can do a ton of damage.
So as we see here, I'm going to run in and wreck this 3rd base. There's going to be nothing left. This 3rd base will go down. Now the Mutalisks are going to take down this medevac as well. And the supply has dropped drastically, but this is a big mistake. Why are you clumping up and trying to take down this tank? You're not going to be able to do it, Kanga. You're not going to be able to do it. So my entire army does die. And now I'm making a lot of Mutalisks, but what I need to make right now is a lot of Banelings, because if he runs down here with all of his Marines and Ghosts and tanks, I will be in a world of hurt. But it looks like he's just being a little bit too timid right now, still kind of staying in his base. And, I mean, it's kind of put him in a tough spot. He still does have 4 bases up and running, but now I have 26 Mutalisks on the map. Imagine if I had kept about 6 more of those. Mutalisks just get more and more powerful the more and more you get.
How are your upgrades on your mutas anyway?
Upgrades are at 1-1, so these missile turrets will not do as much damage as they would like to do. So these mutas are actually going to do fairly well against this base and will shut it down. So goodbye mining from this expansion. All the mules are going to go down. And now Dragonspear is in a really awkward position here. He has a small contingent of Marines and tanks, and he doesn't have much else, but he is bringing the rest of his tanks and Marines. And where are my Banelings? I do actually have a few, so this is not a bad contingent here by me. I just need to be hitting my injects, which I'm failing to do. Hit your injects, Kanga. I swear to God, hit your injects. But here comes the big engagement here. He's pushing out on creep. Big mistake. The tanks are not sieged up, and his entire force is going to get decimated. Banelings are OP, especially when you don't have tanks sieged up, so everything is going to die.
Yes, this is a sort of situation where I felt like he just needed to make something happen, but he was under so much pressure that he just was not thinking completely clearly and rushed his tanks in a little too quickly.
And that he did. I mean, there's a couple of Vikings out here in anticipation of the Broodlords. He's starting on that 3-3, by the way, so a little bit late on his infantry upgrades as well. It's just, he doesn't really have a battle plan from here, and I mean, if I can take out this mining base here at the 4th, I guess you would say, Dragonspear will be in a rough spot. He will not be able to really come back from this.
And we also see you neglecting to get the Zergling free damage upgrade known as the adrenal glands. Just
yeah.
point that out.
Only 200 gas, and I'm neglecting that. So Zergs, don't ever neglect that. I am going to be able to take out this base, but imagine if they had adrenal glands, that would have gone down a lot faster. So this base is now down. I've forced Terran's hand. As Zerg, when you force Terran's hand, and you can scout what his army is like, which I can right here. I see a lot of Marines, a lot of tanks. When you make all these Zerglings, you should immediately make them into Banelings and immediately hit your injects. You should immediately hit your injects, immediately hit your injects. Because right now, Zerglings alone will not be able to take out this force.
And also, immediately hit your injects.
To be honest, that's one of the big issues that was with this game, is I was not hitting my injects. But Dragon is on pretty much no income. He has one base which is about to mine out. The other is more or less mined out, and he's just starting up his 3rd, and he doesn't have much going on there. But I wanna just pose to you right now. Imagine if I had made 18 Banelings, and I had a couple more Zerglings on the way. Imagine if all these Zerglings out right now were Banelings.
Well then, I'd have to say I would hope Dragonspear would put those tanks on the high ground, which I really wish he would have done this game. Because tanks on those high grounds are so hard to deal with. The only way you can really get them is with Mutalisks or Broodlords. And with enough Vikings and enough Marines, you have complete control of that high ground and complete control of the center of the map. But right now, he either just wants to get the game over with, or he feels he can kill you right now, and he's going right for the jugular, trying to take that high battle.
This is a really good choice here from him. His Marines are kind of trapped inside of his tanks, so I can't really hit them with my Banelings. And this right here, guys, is the example, the best example of a bad engagement. Running Banelings into tanks is an example of a really, really bad engagement. Imagine if more of those Banelings had survived and hit all his Marines. This game would be over.
You could have controlled those Banelings to go into the Marines and just use those Mutas to pick off some of the tanks before rushing the Banelings. You could have done a ton more damage. But now the Greater Spire is going to go down, which will be a fairly big blow, since it will completely stop any upgrades you can do if you were going to go for them. And I didn't see any real intention for Broodlords, but not being able to get Mutalisks will completely stop your ability to do any major harassment, except for maybe some Zergling run dies. And you basically have no more map control at this point.
No, not at all. Now my Banelings are going to roll in here. It's going to be enough to take out all his Marines and Ghosts. Nice hits from me, but I've lost my spawning pool. My Baneling S is at really low health, and I just don't have any more map control. I can't really push out safely because I don't have a Spire. I don't have anything going on. I need to be making Banelings right now. Make Banelings. Swear to God, Zergs, make Banelings when you're in this position. Because all Terran can really do is just make a lot of Marines, maybe a couple of tanks, and try and punish you.
And random fact, Ghosts are not considered light units.
No, they're not. They're bionic, aren't they?
They're psionic.
Psionic, okay. So the Banelings are going to come in here. They're going to be able to take out a couple of Marines, but that's not going to be enough. This base is going to go down. And look how much Marines can do. 3-3 Marines with a couple of medevacs, even not being properly controlled, are just able to kill so much.
Ever to kill a drop with just regular Zerglings. That's one of the most frustrating things to deal with drops, even though this isn't a drop. Medevacs can keep Marines alive for so long that if the Marines are in the right position, it takes a ton of Zerglings to actually be able to kill.
Speaking of right position, I engaged at the wrong position. Now his Marines are able to kill all my Zerglings. This game is more or less over, guys. I literally have nothing left. And I have no production. I need to be making more hatcheries. I need to be making macro hatcheries. That's the way you can get back in the game like this when you're down and out. You have to think of something. And yeah, I mean, literally my decision, my choice here was really poor. Is to let his Marines live, not make any Banelings, not make any Zerglings. So
yeah, and really, you aren't that as far as behind as you think. That military is basically all he has. He hasn't been making any workers, really, at his 5th, if you want to call it that. And the only thing he really has mining is those mules, which you can say are OP all you want.
They're not OP, they're a way for Terran to catch up on macro, since the other two races have a better macro mechanic.
I completely agree. But people aren't going to call him OP anyway.
No, but I got a GG there because I didn't throw up enough hatcheries to kind of save myself. I didn't take the preventive measures from me not to get, you know, eliminated from this game. I mean, there's a couple of decisions there, key decisions, regardless of how many mistakes I made, regardless of the fact that I brought my drones out so far to chase his initial Marine and SCV, regardless of the decision that I made 26 Zerglings to take care of 4 Hellions. Wrong, that could have been 13 drones. And regardless of the mistake that I didn't get my bailing speed in time, there's just so many things here with Zerg that you can really learn from, and it's A, not letting your Mutalisks get killed off to stupid engagements so you can harass with them later. B, make banelings when you have a baneling nest. It's actually really good. And then C, harass. Be very active with your Mutalisks at all times. Always find a new avenue to attack. If you're going to play passive as Zerg, you have to be active with your Mutalisks.
And D, don't forget your free damage upgrade with your Zerglings.
I did get it in the end, but it was a bit late. But anyways, guys, that'll do it for now. I've been Kangaruthless, and the host, as always, has been RedBalloonMan. So thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yes, and thank you for being here. And make sure to check out his channel. Would you like to give that to them?
That's youtube.com/Kangaruthless, and your channel, I believe, is youtube.com/NerdyShoreTV, correct?
Indeed. Yes, it is.
Alright, guys. Well, thanks again for joining in, and we will see you guys next time.